Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. Let's wake up Raj and get this show on the road. Why can't I say anything different than that? Sometimes I just have one-liners. Where are my one-liners?
Hello.
Good morning.
Okay, let me use the bathroom. We're right back. And got you on.
We are here and we're ready. Or ready-ish.
Who's we? Hey, we, how's it going? Are you just saying yes in French?
We. Yeah.
Oui.
I don't know. I don't know why, but I always talk in collective like that. Like instead of I'm gonna do something, we're gonna do something. I always say that, even though they are probably not doing anything with me, but I include them anyway.
That's because you're the queen. That's how royalty talks.
Well, I guess it's good to have that much confidence in yourself that you're like, we are all going to this, aren't we?
Yeah, I've already decided, right? We're a we. All right, man.
All right, ready to go. My first news story. Today on Before Coffee. Zelensky makes appeal to international leaders over beheading videos. Ukraine president called for action. Videos circulated online appear to show Ukrainian soldiers beheading Russian forces.
Wow. Manhattan DA sued Representative Jordan over unprecedentedly brazen Trump indictment inquiry. This is really, these Republicans are ridiculous. I swear, they're ridiculous.
Tories hailed Greek migration policy as example. Instead, they should serve as a warning.
What we know so far about the leaked Pentagon documents.
Oh, they're still talking about that, huh? Armenian and Azeri soldiers clash near contested Nagorno-Karabakh region. Rivals have accused each other of initiating fire, which killed 7 people.
And then, fed up by Los Angeles pothole, Arnold Schwarzenegger fills it himself. That in the various sports news, and today's edition of April 12th, 2023's edition of Before Coffee. And let me adjust my camera.
All right, my first news story. My first news story is about beheading. That's very exciting. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has issued a strong statement urging international leaders to act after videos circulated on social media that appeared to show Ukrainian soldiers beheaded by Russian forces. There is something that no one in this world can ignore. How easily these beasts kill. This video, the execution of a Ukrainian captive. This is a video of Russia as it is. What kind of people they are. There are no people for them. A son, a brother, a husband, someone's child. This is a video of Russia just trying to make that the new norm. Such a habit of destroying life. This is not an accident. This is not an episode. This was the case earlier. This was the case in Bucha. Thousands of times. Everyone must react. Every leader. Don't expect it to be forgotten. That time will pass. We are not going to forget anything. Neither are we going to forgive the murderers. There will be legal responsibility for everything. The defeat of terror is necessary. No one will understand if the leaders don't react. Action is required. And we in Ukraine must focus on the front line as much as possible. People as much as possible. Expel the occupier from our land. The main goal is to win. The main goal is strength for the Ukraine to win. Defeat of the occupier. Sentences to murderers. Tribunal for the evil state. Eternal memory to every person whose life was taken by the Russian terror. Glory to all those who fight against evil. Glory to Ukraine. One video began circulated appears to show the beheaded corpses of 2 Ukrainian soldiers lying on the ground next to a destroyed military vehicle. A voice says, "They killed them." someone came up to them. They came up to them and cut their heads off. Second clip, which may have been filmed in summer last year, judging by the appearance of the foliage in the clip, claims to show a number of Russian forces using a knife to cut off a head of a Ukrainian shoulder. A knife? That's like the worst tool to do that with. I mean, the beheadings were already bad, but now they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna use a pocket knife to do it.
No, it's probably some big old blade, though. It's probably
okay, because like a knife. Guardian has not independently verified the origins and veracity of the two videos, but Ukrainian authorities are treating them as genuine. So, yeah, new update on the Ukrainian war. They've been beheading people like it's medieval times. Just, I guess, considered barbaric these days to treat your fellow soldier as just a number/animal on the field, I guess. I don't know. I've never been to the military. You would know more than I do.
It's great for the people that like snuff porn, but I personally have no taste for watching videos of people being beheaded, so I have no opinion on it whatsoever.
Well, what's your opinion on beheading as an action? Good or bad? It's against
the convention. You're fighting a war. Here's the object of war: to acquire territory. Killing people is not an object of war. Killing people is not required for war. In the law of land warfare, you're supposed to avoid casualties at all costs.
Oh yeah.
So anything you do in a war has been negotiated by the Geneva Convention and by other treaties and conventions.
I'm assuming that a lot of those say don't behead people, so that's why it's such a big
summary execution. It says summary execution is illegal.
Yeah.
You've not violated a law by fighting in a war. You were drafted, you were put in a place, you would not violate any law. Somebody told you to do it.
Yeah.
The law of land, take prisoners and you exchange prisoners. You don't kill people just because they're taking part in a war. It's a war crime to execute somebody. All right. Just to make it clear, just because it's a war doesn't mean you get to wholesale murder people. It's murder, even during a.
That's definitely what was happening before. So.
What people don't get, it's still murder. All right, Manhattan DA sues Jim Jordan over DA. I don't want to sound too serious, but it's still murder.
It's very serious.
Jim Jordan over Trump indictment inquiry. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg arrested Jim Jordan on Tuesday. The extraordinary move. Manhattan District. This is for the AP. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg and sued Jim Jordan, GYM Jordan, because he's always got his shirt off. It's like he's some kind of stud or some shit. Gotta take my shirt off. On an extraordinary move as his suit coat off, I should say. An extraordinary. No, he calls him Jacket Off Jim, because he's always got his jacket off. Jacket off. An extraordinary move as he seeks to halt a House Judiciary Committee inquiry that prosecutor contends a transparent campaign with intimidating attack him over an indictment of former Donald Trump. Bragg, a Democrat, is asking the judge to invalidate subpoenas that Jordan, the committee's Republican chair, has issued of plans to take part in investigation of Bragg's handling of the case, the first criminal prosecution of former president. Has no jurisdiction to do this. He's just a fucking sycophant. That's all he is. Sycophant for Trump. U.S. District Judge Mary K. Vykoskil, a Trump appointee who previously served as a federal bankruptcy court judge, declined Tuesday to take immediate action on the lawsuit. Well, she's probably incompetent. She scheduled an initial hearing for April 19th in Manhattan, the day before the committee plans to question or subpoena the top former prosecutor. Just ignore it. Jim Jordan was subpoenaed. He ignored it. Ignore it.
Yeah.
Who cares what Jordan does? He doesn't answer subpoenas. I'd send him a picture of my finger, and that was all I would do. Have fun with your interviews, scumbag. That's exactly what I would say. But he's doing it legally. He's suing him. Bragg's lawsuit, a forceful escalation after weeks of sparring with Jordan and other Republican and letters, media statements, seeks to end what it says is a constitutionally destructive fishing expedition that threatens the sovereignty and integrity of state-level prosecution. Congress lacks any valid legislative purpose to engage in free-ranging campaign of harassment and retaliations for the district attorney's investigation and prosecution of Trump under the laws of New York. The lawsuit says, citing the lack of authority for the Constitution for Congress to oversee, let alone disrupt, ongoing state law matters. They just fucking can't do it. In response, Jordan tweeted Tuesday, first thing, thank you for no claim. You ensure the congressional oversight when you know the question. Okay, first they indict a president for no crime, then they sue to block congressional oversight when we ask questions about the federal funds that they say they used to do it. In other words, they're trying to defund the police. The Republicans are trying to defund the police. We're going to block congressional money from the state of New York, federal money for the state of New York to fight crime.
Yeah.
Good luck, New York! Do you know New York gives like $2 of federal taxes for every $2.50 of federal taxes for every dollar they get back from the federal government? And the federal government, you can't use your own money. You can't use your own money. We're going to give it to Texas so they can break all kinds of laws.
Yeah.
Jim's be put in prison. He ought to be put in prison forever. The Judiciary Committee recently issued a subpoena seeking testimony from Mark Pomeranz, former prosecutor who previously oversaw the Trump investigation and sparred with Bragg. Oh, we're going to interview somebody that disagreed with him. Okay, so what does that prove? They disagreed. People can disagree. It doesn't make it illegal. The committee has also sought documents, testimony. They're not going to get anything. The committee is scheduled to hold a hearing in Manhattan on Monday on crime. On crime in New York City and what alleges Bragg's pro-crime, anti-victim policies. It's just fucking shit. Just fucking shit. Using taxpayers' money to go on a fishing expedition to defend the biggest criminal to ever sit in the White House. In response, Bragg said that if Jordan, who is from Ohio, really cared about public safety, he would travel to some of the major cities in his home state where crime is reported higher in New York. Yeah, exactly. Okay, Jordan. Crime's higher in Ohio. Go there and investigate crime. How about that? The crime rate in New York City is one of the lowest in the world. It really is. Amazing, isn't it? It's higher in Cleveland. It's higher in Dayton, Ohio. Yeah, your story.
Okay, my story. Prominent conservatives openly view Greece's self-described... Oh, wait, sorry. Oh, I didn't mean myself. I'm crazy. Prominent conservatives openly view Greece's self-described strict but fair migration policy... Oh, God damn it. My phone fell.
Oh, you fell down.
Migration policy as a model to emulate. The former Home Secretary Priti Patel told MPs last week that we would not be in this current situation had she been allowed to replicate Greek-style reception centers. British interest in the Greek model dates back to May 2021, when the former Immigration Minister Chris Philip made it urgent, as internal documents seen by The Guardian called it, trip to Greece. This was followed by an official visit by Patel in August 2021, who toured a newly constructed Greek camp, went out of patrol with the Greek Coast Guard, and spoke of working closely with Greek partners on migration. The illegal migration bill making its way through Parliament has stated purpose to deter asylum seekers entering the UK illegally and via safe countries, in part by removing the right to asylum for those arriving on small boats, for example. Echoes of Greek policy are apparent within the bill, and the debate is surrounding it. And while their legality and effectiveness are questionable, the political rationale is clear. The Conservatives and the Greek center-right government, which faces elections in May, are banking on tough immigration policies being a vote winner. I don't get this stuff, man. Of course, as an immigrant, I'm biased. Like, why do you care so much about stopping people from coming into your country, like, this much? Let's make camps.
They all have fentanyl on their heads.
Yeah.
That's in this country. Everybody's bringing fentanyl, even though 90% of the country is brought here by American citizens.
As two reporters have covered migration in Greece for years, we have witnessed the legal, moral, and political ramifications of laws and policies already applied in Greece. and now being debated in the UK. These include using disused military bases to house asylum seekers. Last week, the immigration minister Robert Jenrick called the practice a success in Greece. This may come as news to Greek authorities, which acknowledge the inhumane conditions at sites such as infamous Moria camp on Lesbos, a former barrack that burned to the ground in September 2020. Wait a minute. This camp was called Moria.
Yeah.
Which is the name of a dwarven mine in Lord of the Rings. Okay,
oh, yeah.
Hear me out. And it was on Lesbos, which is the famous lesbian island. That's what lesbians are named out of Isle of Lesbos.
Right.
I'm just saying, that's an interesting, two words that mean nothing. Totally mean nothing.
I'm trying to make the connection here. I'm not.
Lesbian labor camp. In both countries, there's a veneer of humanism justifying tough policies. The Home Office and the Greek government state that their policies are aimed at protecting the lives endangered by crossing in flimsy boats. While such journeys are undeniably dangerous and often prove lethal, stopping the boats does not necessarily mean lives are saved. Tackling the lucrative smuggling business is put at the top of the Home Office's agenda in the new bill, but the Greek experience is again telling. Evidence suggests heightened deterrence typically makes more desperate and boosts smugglers' profit margins. Yes, less people will be doing it, hence there's less people offering the service, hence they can charge a premium. There has been a growing trend of boats attempting to bypass Greece, taking the far more dangerous sea route to Italy, and 2 consecutive shipwrights recently claimed dozens of lives. According to court documents we have seen, smugglers charge each person as much as £9,000 or 7,900 euros. Oh wait, sorry, reverse that. 9,000 euros, 7,900 pounds for the riskier routes in unseaworthy vessels, often carrying as much as 100 people. Oh wow. There's a picture of a dinghy coming from Turkey crowned with refugees nearing the Greek island of Samos in the Aegean Sea, and we were on the Aegean Sea, and that was pretty big. Like, I couldn't see land anywhere, so I can't imagine crossing it in basically a canoe.
In actuality, it really doesn't take long for land to disappear when you're on the ocean, right? You just got to get horizon. It don't take. Good.
Figures from Greece further suggest tough migration policies don't actually discourage people. Another stated goal of the UK bill. 2,500 crossings, or 250,000 crossings, were prevented at the land border with Turkey in previous years, even though aspiring asylum seekers know they are likely to be denied their legal rights, suffer violence, and ultimately end back up in Turkey. The UK makes no provisions for claiming asylum from abroad either. While some politicians from UK and Greece insist asylum seekers request protection in first a safe country they reach, legal experts have pointed out there is no obligation, often no opportunity for them to do so. In Greece's case, Turkey has been demonstrably shown to be unsafe, and not least because of regular forced returns of refugees to Syria. Orderly returns, also central to the UK peer, are notoriously difficult to enforce. With France, there is no such agreement, which means thousands remain stuck in the UK in a legal limbo. In the case of Greece, although Turkey is theoretically obliged to take back migrants reaching the Greek islands under the EU-Turkey deal from 2016, Ankara has not accepted a single one since March 2020. Financial figures do not suggest the process is cost-effective either. Some estimates for the UK suggest that bill will cost billions of pounds. In Greece, the numbers seeking asylum have fallen, but deterrence costs remain high. Hundreds of millions of euros of Greek and UA taxpayers' money is spent on items such as a new vessel for the Coast Guard, hiring more border guards, new camps, or extending steel wall at the land border with Turkey. A project the EU refuses to sponsor, calling it pointless short-term measure. Stopping the boats is a de facto policy in Greece, but the Greek example touted by politicians in London revealed the legal, practical, financial, and more moral pitfalls of a policy that makes deterrence its overarching goal. There you go. You gotta stop those people coming on boats. I don't know why, but we have to.
Because they're gonna come here and take those valuable jobs. Okay. We heard about the leak from the Pentagon about the Ukraine support of the war. I kind of like this theory about the Pentagon and their leaks too, right? What do you do when information leaks out? Do you sit there and verify that it's true? Or, no, you don't. You don't necessarily say that, even if it is true. Maybe you did want to leak it. Maybe you did want to scare some people. And then when the leak comes out, you say, well, some of it's been altered, but you don't tell. Of course, you don't tell people what's been altered because that would tell them, right, what's right and what's wrong. So, I think they may be they may have been done on purpose, and it may just end up being a good thing. And this is a theory that's operating from Daily Kos. And their article, Ukraine update. If the leaked documents are real, then they're a good sign for Ukraine. Let's start from the beginning because he's got all updates.
A lot of updates here.
The updates at the start. Well, he says, well, we still don't know if it's a real, fake, or disinformation created by any one of several potential sources. But wait, doesn't the outrage and the warnings from the U.S. officials that the information should not be spread? But wait, doesn't the outrage and warnings from U.S. officials that this information should not be spread mean? Nope. Surely all these statements about anger from allies concerned about lost credibility with Ukraine and desperate hunt for the leaker means that, nope. Well, at least the information casting doubt upon Ukraine's abilities proves, nope, he says. The purpose of the disinformation is to look like real information, including treating the release of that information as if it were real information. We don't know. We won't know unless the U.S. announces that someone has been arrested and charged with the release of information. We can't even be sure then. That's a good thing because Moscow is in exactly the same position. Do I think it's real? Yes, sadly enough, it's quite easy to believe that someone somewhere is that big of an idiot, such an idiot, that it's hard to tell if his information was posted for any reason bigger than showing off and possibly winning an online argument. Because Minecraft servers are because Minecraft servers are where all the real experts gather, or something. Sorry, that part of the whole story makes my head ache. I'm imagining an argument that goes like, yeah, well, Ukraine is running out of tank ammo, but look at my sick Minecraft model on Minas Tirith. What you take away from these documents? What?
Minas Tirith. It's from Lord of the Rings.
There you go. Minas Tirith. I just read it. I didn't learn to pronounce it. We should take away from these two documents when it comes to two broad statements that have been widely published. Concerns about Ukraine's running out of ammunition and concerns that a Ukraine counteroffensive might not be effective enough to push Russia out of most of occupied territory. Honestly, we should take both of these evaluations as hopeful signs. Because there are signals that the U.S. analysts were watching closely and noting that these places where Ukraine needed help. And it is needed, not needs, after all. The date on the reports is February. That was followed by a March 3rd announcement of a $400 million package that includes HIMARS artillery and equipment for bridging rivers and streams. Just 3 weeks later, the U.S. followed up with a $2.6 billion package, again dominated by ammunition, HIMARS rockets, tank ammunition, anti-aircraft ammo, and still more artillery. The package contains fuel trucks, more bridging, recovery vehicles, and more anti-aircraft systems. And if the February analysis, which was likely made even earlier, says that the U.S. believed Ukraine is short of ammunition, the first March packages looks like tailor-made to address the issue. If the February analysis believed Ukraine lacked everything it needed to liberate and hold territory, the big package announced at the end of March looks like as if it was absolutely designed to fill the gaps in Ukraine logistics. If those leaks in February were a checklist, the packages in March ticked every box. In other words, this is old information, the stuff that was leaked. And I know one thing about classified information. It can be classified for 2 hours.
Yeah.
It can be classified for 2 days. It can be classified for a week. It can be classified forever. Right? It only stays classified when it's absolutely of no use to the enemy. Your story.
Okay. Minecraft servers.
And information is sometimes better than no information to the enemy, right? Because they're just, the enemy's wondering, why are they leaking us so easily? They're trying to fool us.
Yeah,
How much of it is that?
It becomes 3D chess, basically, yeah.
Yep. So again, espionage is tricky. I think this is an actual translation for espionage, and being tricky.
It's being tricky. All right.
So I'll look it up.
News in Armenia and Azerbaijan. I believe it's Azerbaijan. Yeah, Azerbaijan. Yep. Soldiers are clashing near the contested Nagorno-Karabakh region. South Caucasus rivals Armenia and Azerbaijan have accused each other of initiating a fatal clash around the contested Nagorno and Karabakh region, which killed 7 soldiers. 2 neighbors, formerly part of the Soviet Union, have fought repeatedly over the last 35 years for control of the Nagorno-Karabakh, which is an internationally recognized part of Azerbaijan, but home to mainly ethnic Armenian population. Convenient. That's a great way to start a conflict. The Azeri Defense Ministry said that their 3 troops have died in a clash close to the contested Lakhchin corridor, a key road in the Nagorno-Karabakh from Armenia that crosses through Azeri territory. The Armenian Defense Ministry said 4 of its soldiers had died and another 6 had been wounded. Yerevan had earlier accused Azerbaijan of opening fire on Armenian troops performing engineering work near the village of Teg in Armenia's southern Duinik province. It said its forces had taken countermeasures without providing details. Why are people shooting each other for? Like, were they threatening you, or their existence is threatening? You know, I don't understand why they. Hey, are you guys Armenian? Get them. Okay. that's what it sounds like.
They worship a different invisible man than me. Get him.
Teg is the last village on the Lakhchin corridor in Armenia before it enters Azeri territory. Baku said its troops came under intense fire from Armenian troops stationed in the Sunik province. Another 100 troops were killed during fighting between the 2 countries in September. Russia dispatched thousands of strong peacekeeping contingent to the region in 2020 as part of a deal to end the week of fighting that killed thousands and saw Azerbaijan make significant territorial gains. Moscow is an ally of Armenia through a mutual self-defense pact, but also strives for good relations with Baku. The latest standoff has been seen as a key test of Moscow's ongoing influence in the region as it wages its own war in Ukraine. Azerbaijanis claiming to be environmental protesters have been blocking the route since the end of last year, resulting in what Armenia calls a humanitarian crisis. Baku denies these claims, saying essential supplies can get into the territory and has defended the protesters as rallying against legitimate environmental concerns. Yerevan calls the government-backed agitator. These guys have drama against each other over a piece of land that must have gold in it or something, because I don't think it's that important, but like I said, I don't understand these kind of things from a humanitarian point of view, because it's really like just some pointless, invisible border that somebody drew on a map, and you decided, I'm gonna kill people over this.
Well, one of the definitions of war is organized thievery. That's all it is. We're gonna steal that stuff because we got more weapons, and we're gonna spend the rest of our time doing it too. Which is like, I mean, there's so many places people want to live in this one piece of territory. Like, it's, oh boy, this one little piece of territory, we're gonna fight over it. Okay, just another day of conflict on Earth. Way to go, Earth. Humans. Was it my story?
Yep, your story time.
Okay, it's time for Arnold. And the lighter side of the news really isn't the light side because it does highlight bureaucracy and our incapability to do simple tasks. Fed up by an enormous pothole in Los Angeles, this is from the AP. Fed up by an enormous pothole in Los Angeles neighborhood, Arnold Schwarzenegger picked up a shovel and filled it himself. The actor and former governor tweeted a video Tuesday for using packaged concrete to repair the road in a brick. Looks like he's using asphalt. No, that's a different picture. Just a picture of somebody with asphalt. Okay. Why did they put that picture there? It's confusing. Today, after the whole neighborhood has been upset about this giant pothole has been screwing up cars and bicycles for a week, I went out with my team and fix it, he wrote on Twitter. I always say, let's not complain, let's do something about it. Here you go. A neighbor rolled down the car window and shouted her thanks at the action movie star. You're welcome, says Schwarzenegger, decked out in work boot, leather jacket, and shades reminiscent of his role in Terminator. So Schwarzenegger was out there dressing in Terminator drag to do his little fill-in stunt. I love it.
Yeah.
You have to do it yourself. This is crazy. For 3 weeks, I've been waiting for this hole to be closed. I've had a car fucked up by a pothole. I know what that's like. Daniel Ketchnell, a spokesman for Schwarzenegger, said Brentwood residents made repeated Brentwood can't get shit fixed, man. You got problems. Brentwood residents made repeated requests for repairs since winter storm opened up potholes and cracks in local roads. Mayor Karen Bass last week announced a plan to address what she called an unprecedented number of damaged streets across the city. Los Angeles received 19,692 service requests for repairs as of April 6th. Crews filled at least 17,549 potholes, officials said. Well, Arnold's was one of the 2,000. They were probably taking care of the poor neighborhoods at first. Arnold, be patient. Brentwood. You know, if you live in Brentwood, does that sound like a poor place to live? I live in Brentwood. Oh, you mean the projects of Brentwood? Oh, no.
Project.
No. Yeah, there's projects, all right. The projects the landscapers are working on in that big mansion. That's the project. The Department of Public Works did not immediately respond to email asking whether the pothole Schwarzenegger filled had been scheduled to be repaired. Well, if it wasn't, that's a real oversight. All right, that's a story.
Nice and short.
Lighter side in the lighter side. Not everything's serious, folks. Even though a pothole is serious, but not a series says beheadings. Oh, and here's the news: Schwarzenegger was beheaded. Oh, that's really sad. Oh, anyway. Joke. It's a joke.
Alright, for my next story. Cooking oil, Grandpa's cuckoo stick, and a quilt. How I recreated black portraits and celebrated the stories of people of color. Peter Braithwaite. That sounds like a British name that I should probably say differently.
It sounds like something you eat, Braithwaite.
Yeah. As an opera singer, I'm used to breathing life into characters. During lockdown, I took on a challenge to reimagine great artworks in my home, and so brought Black history to life and explored what it means to take up a space as a Black man. As a Black British opera singer, yeah, that's what I thought, you're British, so I probably said his last name wrong. I'm used to being a rare breed. Still, moreover, I am accustomed to having quizzical glances cast in my direction, as if I'm something of a novelty or a curious anomaly. A large part of my musical career to date has been based on balancing and reconciling the tricky dichotomy of otherness in relation to myself and the canon of Western classical music that I love and love to perform. That's a worthy sentence. Basically, he's like, I'm Black, and people are like, that's weird. Black people like classical music, and then he's like, I sure do. Yeah, dichotomy.
I'm not sure how it's weird. Yeah.
I'm just saying, that was. I had to think of what I just said. And given that there are few and far between, representations of people who look like me in the classical canon have always been of interest. As a student of opera, I clung to the album covers of the African-American soprano, Leontine Price, and a black and white postcard portrait of the Black British composer, Samuel Coleridge Taylor. I've heard of him. These totemic images, my superheroes, became talismanic, protective figures when I found myself on the receiving end of everyday racism from fellow musicians. Things like, you're the whitest Black man I know, or your performances was so good I thought you were a white singer blacked up. Why would you say that? Why would you let that come out of your mouth? Do people not think before they speak? I thought you were, you would have oh my god, this one's even worse. You would have been a
What?
slave when this opera was written. No, he wouldn't have been because he was born today, not in the 1600s.
What? He would have been a slave where?
I don't know.
He's only been a slave in the United States, not in Africa. All right, go ahead.
Just random ass racism. That's just like, do you hear what you just said? Or the time a singing coach put her finger in my mouth because she didn't understand how I, a Negro, could have an Alivorla ridge. Wait, you're a different race. That means you're a different species. No, it doesn't. You're stupid. Go to school. Okay, that's embarrassing. In opera, I have been cast as an enslaved African man twice. Both times turned out to be opportunities to humanize black characters that have all too often existed on stage as one-dimensional stereotypes, with one of these roles in particular, the enslaved African Kaidama in the Gaetano Donizetti's Il Furioso, oh my god, I can't speak whatever language, Italian? Furiosa all'Isola di San Domingo, a 19th century opera set in the Caribbean. Okay. I could have just said the enslaved African Kamada in the 19th century opera set in the Caribbean. I could have just said that, but then I tried to read Italian or Spanish. No, Spanish.
I'm going to start skipping big words. Go ahead.
There was an urgent need to restore agency to an operatic character who has been portrayed in blackface well into the 21st century. This is a tradition that has done much to distort the dignity of black lives. He talks for a lot. Fast forward to the COVID-19 lockdown of 2021. I was the Negro who would rediscover black portraiture and make the Getty Museum challenge a matter of representation. By recreating as many black figures as possible using the stuff in my house and the camera of my iPhone, I would commit to rescuing their voices from oblivion, and in doing so, challenge how art and history has been told. The Getty challenge. There was this thing. You'd get your phone, you take a picture of your face, and it'd be like, you look exactly like this painting from this museum. And then people would try to remake the painting in real life. So he did that, but with black portraitures, basically.
Got it.
He did Mana Musa, Emperor of Mali, were worked with a cardboard and bathrobe and a broom. Or the Magus Balthasar, we worked with a bottle of cooking oil and wood. These are actually pretty good. You know how they draw like light rays with lines in art? He basically used string as the light rays. So he just drew up a bunch of string. He did the Sibyl Agrippina, reworked from Grandpa's cuckoo stick, Granny's patchwork quilt, and fairy lights, which is another word for Christmas lights in UK. The Paston Treasure, we worked with Afro Hair Products, Jesse Norman and Leonanta Price Records.
Okay.
And The Virgin of Guadalupe, we worked with tinsel and a rag doll from Barbados.
Right.
Africa, the land of hope and promise for Negro peoples of the world, were worked with my grandmother's patchwork quilt, and then he painted himself different colors. All these pictures are really inspiring, and wow, maybe I'll post them. The edit.
I'm having trouble visualizing if I don't know what these actual works of art, the originals were. So
yeah, I think I'll post it in the edit. You can see all these pictures, and you'll be very impressed with his ability to recreate them in real life.
Yeah, for the slideshow time. All right, this date, is that right? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
This day in history, the Union Jack was adopted in 1606 by Great Britain as the official flag. In 1204, this day, April 12, Alexis V, the last Greek emperor of United Byzantium, fled Constantinople, which is modern-day Istanbul, in the face of the Fourth Crusade. Yeah, they had at least 4 of those things. In 1777, American statesman Henry Clay was born in Hanover County, Virginia. One word at a time. In 1861, Fort Sumter one of the few military installations in the South, still in federal hands, came under fire from Confederate guns in Charleston, South Carolina, thus initiating the American Civil War. In 1961, the Civil War. 1861.
Yeah, I was going to be like 19. I don't remember that.
1892, a patent for the first portable typewriter was issued in the United States. In 1945, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt died on this day at the age of 1963, right towards the end of World War II. In 1947, American comedian David Letterman was born on this day. Happy birthday, David Letterman. On this day in 1961, 100 years after the start of Civil War to the day, Yuri Gagarin became the first human in outer space. What a coincidence. They think, well, we're going to fight over this dirt. Meanwhile, 100 years from now, the Russians are going to be sending a man into orbit, into outer space. And let's say, what's a Russian? The Confederates were ignorant. I'm sorry. American Joe Louis, world heavyweight boxing champion from 1937 to 1949. That's 12 years of being a champion. Died at age 66. In 1981. In 1983, Harold Washington was elected the first American mayor of Chicago. 1989, American boxer Sugar Ray Robinson died at the age of 67. 2014, a forest fire swept through the port city of Valparaiso, Chile, destroying several thousand homes and claiming the lives of at least 16 people before it was extinguished several days later. Other birthdays today. Tom Clancy was born the same day as David Letterman in 1947. Jacob Zuma, president of South Africa, was born on this day in 1942. Herbie Hancock, jazz musician, protege of, you know his name. I think it was Bobby Moore, British athlete, born in 1941. Bobby Moore, British athlete. I don't know what it is. Probably British athlete. Got to be soccer. I'm not sure. Edward de Vere, 13th Earl of Oxford, was born on this day in 1850. In case you were worried about that. And in 1981 was the launch of the first space shuttle. That was today in news, April 12. And from, I guess we say sign off. Ready to sign off.
All right, this has been Allison from Europe talking about how people are fighting over their borders and land still. And we'll see you tomorrow for some updates on how that's going.
Yes, and this is Roger from the United States with all the comprehensive news of planet Earth for April 12th, 2022 on Before Coffee. April 12th, 2023, which again, I'm living in the past. 2023 and Before Coffee.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.